Listen up, knob cones. The following episode of Blackwell Podcast contains spoilers for all episodes of Life is Strange.
Hi, welcome to Blackwell Podcast, where we love Life is Strange more than Rachel wants to meet her mother. I am Joey, and joined with me, as always, is Jamie.
Hello.
Aaron.
Hi.
Sean.
Hey!
And Zach.
Yippee-ki-yay.
Oh my god.
Harry's got to one-up us.
I feel like there should be we were speaking the compilations before the episode, but I feel like there needs to be a compilation of Zach just one-upping us on the intros.
He's progressivly getting more cowboy as each episode.
Yeah, I know. As soon as you said
yippee-ki-yay,
I really regretted not saying yeehaw.
Top 10 best Zach intros.
Alright.
Today, we are talking about, finally, we're getting around to Hell is Empty, which is episode 3 of Before the Storm.
Sorry it took so long.
What?
Sorry it took so long.
Yeah.
It'll be worth the wait, we promise.
Yeah.
So, this is I guess we would exclude Farewell.
It's like the penultimate discussion episode.
Right. This is the final episode of Before the Storm's story. You have Farewell, but that's gonna be its own thing for the sake of what I'm saying right now. So
That's what he says goes.
So I guess, do we want to get right into it?
Let's get right into the news.
Let's dive in.
Oh boy.
Alright.
Well, first of all, maybe let's do kind
Spoilers.
of an overall,
okay.
What we thought of the episode in general, and then we can kind of unpack that.
Yeah.
Okay. Welcome to the first Blackwell unboxing. Alright.
Exclusive sneak peek.
Alright, so I might as well start off.
Go for it.
Because my shit joke kind of just threw me under the bus. So, I enjoyed it. I did. I felt like it was a nice way to wrap up the story between Chloe and Rachel.
Mm-hmm.
There were some some interactions I did like. Some, I'll get into specifics later, felt a little bit forced.
Mm-hmm.
Like some moments, but apart from that, I felt fine. Yeah, that's all I can really say about it for now. I can't really go into it without going into detail. So
That's
I'll
good.
mention
Concise.
it later.
I will say I agree. I thought overall it was a great sort of wrap up to that particular series or whatever you want to call it. I think in any piece that you do, concluding it is an extremely hard thing to do, especially it's added on difficulty when you're ending one thing that has to go into another. And, a similar example would be Rogue One leading into A New Hope, Star Wars.
Right.
Which I thought also was beautifully done. But I thought Hell is Empty was great. It had all the emotional weight that, we would expect from Life is Strange. I was really happy with just the character development, the arcs that everybody went through. The only thing that kind of didn't sit right to me, or with me rather, and we can go into this later, is the pacing. I thought in the first half of it was done really well, and then I felt like towards the end it was a bit rushed. And I can talk about specific examples later, but yeah, it was heavy and wonderful and everything we love about Life is Strange.
I think for me that, and it's been a little while since I played it, so I'm trying to remember exactly, but I think that episode 3 might have been for me, the weakest episode in Before the Storm. I enjoyed it, but I do agree that the pacing felt weird at times, and there are definitely some parts of it were really good. I think some parts of it were maybe like possibly some of my favorite parts, and like all of Life is Strange, but I think for the most part it was probably my least favorite episode.
Of Before the Storm.
Of Before the Storm, yeah.
Yeah.
But I did enjoy it as a whole. But I'll talk more about it when we get to like different parts.
What about you, Sean?
I would agree actually. I think the pacing kind of towards the end was a bit rushed, but like I suppose I didn't mind it all that much because I liked a lot of the other parts of the episode. And I think the opening of this episode was probably my favourite opening out of them all. I just really liked how it was done.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'll get into it later, but I thought some of the character developments, not the main characters, but there's a certain character whose development was a bit weird. I'll talk about that later. But I really did like the episode overall. It just, like, with anything, there's always going to be some faults.
Mm-hmm. I think that as a whole, the episode, I don't think it was my least favorite. I think I enjoyed it more than episode 2, but I think as a whole, it had probably some of the weakest moments of Before the Storm, but I think it also had some of the strongest moments of Before the Storm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree.
And I think with Hell is Empty, we can really see like the full effect of constraints and maybe even some fatigue with some things, with development and all that. But overall, I mean, I really enjoyed it. Like I said, I think I enjoyed it more than episode 2 even. I think there was a couple cutscenes that were just like so fucking good that were maybe even the best in the whole series.
Yeah.
Some of the scenes were, but it also, again, like I said, it had some pretty weak points for me too, as well, which I'll touch on. I don't want to be super critical, but I do have a few things that didn't really mesh with me too well. It did provide an emotional experience, though, for sure. I teared up a few times in it. And I think that's probably, I realize that I'm just an emotional masochist, and I think that's probably why I enjoyed it more than episode 2, is because Hell is Empty provided more opportunity for me to get choked up and cry a little bit over. And apparently that's just what is good to me. So
Sure.
I feel like kind of having like any kind of emotional connection like that is kind of what makes a game special, which is very, very important. So yeah, so let's get right into the like full spoiler discussion. So that's a warning, even though we warned you in the intro. So if you haven't played Hell is Empty, or if you just don't care, you care for spoilers, now's your chance to tune out. If you have played it or you don't care for spoilers, welcome. We're gonna talk for the next like 2-3 hours about this game. Hopefully not that long.
Sit back, get comfy.
So,
pour your favorite beverage. Join us on this quest.
Pour one out for your homies.
all right, so it starts off a little bit interesting for a Life is Strange episode, where it kind of get to learn a little bit about Rachel's mother, Sarah, and you get to see. For me, it started off strong with the whole viewfinder bit.
Yeah, I really liked the opening. Like I said, it's probably my favourite out of all of the openings in Before the Storm. It might actually be my favourite opening out of all of every Life is Strange episode. I just really liked the opening. I think it was like really different compared to like other stuff that we'd seen, and like because obviously it normally has like a calm like indie opening most of the time, whereas this one I thought was really interesting because it kind of shook me a little bit. And It kind of reminded me of like the nightmare scene from season 1. It had that kind of like creepy feel to it, and I really liked that.
Yeah, it was like very like esoteric and different for Life is Strange. But I mean, it worked well. I thought that part was really cool, and it was a really cool way to involve the player with that scene as well, instead of just having it like sitting there listening to James prattle on.
Yeah, like totally. It could have just been like a monologue, but they made it really interactive, and like having like the animations and like getting to click on them, like see them like dancing and stuff like that. I just thought it was like really cool, like the storytelling vibe of it.
Sorry about that, by the way.
It's cool.
What?
I took a drink from it. What I assumed it was an energy drink, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's carbonated coffee.
Well, that's an energy drink, but that's
Carbon coffee.
It is gross. Anyway, I wrote down the time code, so you can just cut that out and post. Just me going, so yeah, sorry about that.
I'll probably just silence it, but I'm absolutely leaving this in.
Oh, okay.
The explanation.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, I felt like that scene. It was a nice homage as well to episode 1 with Awake, because I feel like that was one of my favorite parts of that episode. It was like, yeah, viewfinder time. Justice for the fucking nail file.
I think I like to, with both Rachel and Chloe at the viewfinder, it really gave the sense of togetherness for them. Like, it really gave the sense of they were like going through this together.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
So
because
I
didn't
feel
she even say like, will you come with me or something like that?
Yeah, she was like,
Yeah.
I'm here, like, I'm not leaving you, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And like at the beginning, it's
I
like,
thought
are
that
you
was
sure
really
Chloe
moving.
should be? Are you sure Chloe be here? And just Rachel grabs Chloe's hand and was like, oof.
Yeah.
So yeah, we
Oof,
learned a little
indeed.
bit. We learned a little bit about Sarah, how she was kind of similar to Rachel at like the very beginning, where James was just being a fuckboy. There's no polite way around it.
They did, and I'll go into this a little bit more, but they do a good job of making you come around to James. And
Yeah, definitely.
making you hate him even more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before. But we'll talk about that part a little bit later. But so you move from the viewfinder to Rachel's room, and there's a few things to do in there. There's 2 graffitis in there.
Wait. There's like the lounge and like the living room beforehand.
Yeah, I didn't, but I mean, there's not really too much.
There's
It's
a
just
t-shirt, dude.
Well, yeah,
Well,
you can help a t-shirt.
that.
Which I actually missed the first time around.
It's a cool fucking t-shirt. It's like an ice cream cone on fire.
The outfit.
You ever seen
'cause
such a thing?
That's the shirt that I chose to wear in
Yeah.
that episode.
That
The
was
whole
the one I picked,
outfit
too.
is fucking cool.
Agreed.
It was a good look. Good look.
Right,
by the way.
sorry.
Especially
Right,
because
go.
Rachel makes a little comment about it.
Mhm.
And I love a little Rachel comment idea.
Other than that, there's not really too much to see. You can talk to
can-
James
yeah.
and Rose. They're both just kind of. We're glad you're here for Rachel, for our daughter, because we suck as parents.
I noticed
So-
something quite funny as well. I was
What?
replaying through like the very beginning of Hell is Empty, and I noticed we know now that Rihanna DeVries did the mocap for Chloe and for Rose as well.
Mm-hmm.
So when basically one of the options is you can get help Rose by getting her like the broom.
Oh yeah.
Chloe doesn't hand her the broom; she leaves it on the counter,
Yeah.
just like leans it down. It's like how it would have been hilarious if they like full on just went with just the mocap, just like Chloe like walking to the other spot as Rose and just picking it up or something.
I really thought that Rose was going to have you sweep.
Oh yeah.
getting the broom, but no, she just has you walk like 2 steps away from her to get the broom. And good, good help. Good
Missed
help.
opportunity.
All right. So let's go into the Rachel's room.
Right. So
Let's.
there's a few things to interact with in the room. There's some posters and such. We see Rachel's astrology sign. We see her numerology sign. Or it's not numerology. It's fucking
poster.
some
Astrology?
It's Scientology.
It's some
battle-
personality thing. It's not like Myers-Briggs or whatever, not Myers-Briggs or whatever it is. I don't know. I've never seen anything like that before other than that poster. But it's like 1 through 8, and then it's like personality types.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a personality type poster. So we learned that that I guess Rachel's kind of a narcissist because she's got posters of her personality types like hanging up in her wall. But you know,
Well, I found that really like striking because I've kind of known people like that who have stuff like that around the room / desk at their office, and it like helps to give them their own sense of identity and like reaffirm that. So I don't know. I thought that was a nice touch.
Yeah. I feel like that would be important for Rachel because, you know,
Yeah,
she goes through different roles and stuff, you know, as an actress.
I kind of do too, just because I feel like, obviously, because you were talking about how it helps people like reaffirm their identity, and obviously Rachel's such like a floaty person when it comes to like friendship groups and people she gets along with, and, like
Yeah.
she gets mixed in with like different kinds of people. So I feel like maybe there's a part of her that like doesn't really know who she is, so she like sticks to these kind of like guides of the person she's supposed to be.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, for sure. I think that's a good way to put it. Also, just a quick shout out. I love the way this sequence opens up with that song by Coda,
Oh yeah.
and just the general ambiance of this scene is it's pretty incredible.
It's like a nice it's, you know, like the complete opposite. Is that juxtaposition?
Yeah, that's well.
Because if you
well,
think
juxtaposition is like the comparison, like side by side, like the
Yeah.
positioning.
between
But I mean that's
episode
applicable
3
here.
and episode 2, you know how like Chloe was just like how she was just vandalizing a bathroom, whilst it's just nice and calm and, you know, just trying, you know, just to kind of get a hold of everything that we just learned from about Sarah, and, you know, how we feel like Rachel might be feeling, and just how upset and distraught she is.
Mm.
And you got my favorite fucking objective of the game here.
Which is what
Be here for Rachel.
Yeah, I love that Chloe had that written on her hand.
I love
Yeah,
the hand thing.
I actually, because obviously, like my best friend's called Rachel and she loves Life is Strange. We often use like the pictures of Rachel of Chloe's hand as like a meme, because there's one that's like fight, like my friend Rachel edited it to say like fight Rachel or something like that, and like or like the be here for Rachel one, like, so whenever like she tweets something I always like reply with those, so thank you for that.
I
think-
Go
Go
ahead.
ahead, Joey.
I was just gonna say, I was just stifling laughs because when I said that Rachel was a bit of a narcissist for having these like posters of like her personality and stuff like that, and then all I could think of was the Fallout 4. Everyone disliked that,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but go ahead.
I think the room is really cool, the whole Rachel's room, just because everybody's like going into somebody's bedroom is like or dorm room is like a recurring thing in Life is Strange, and it's always like a cool glimpse into like who they are, and Rachel, obviously, you know, we didn't get the chance for that in season 1, and that it's like a really cool way to open up like the last part of Before the Storm, is that like you finally get to see like how Rachel lived, like, you know, what her little space was like, and that whole thing just feels really like almost like whimsical, just because it was always one of my favorite parts, was like snooping into somebody's room or their dorm. It was always really interesting to see that, like seeing Nathan's dorm or
Kate.
Yeah, like it was always like one of my favorite parts. So it was cool to finally get to see Rachel's.
There's like a lot of stuff around here which is just lovely to see, which you've mentioned, as well as like Joey mentioned, there's 2 graffiti options here. One of my favorite is the map. Where you get to choose like something you said or something that Rachel said. I know we just went for what Rachel said because I feel like using her own words, using Rachel's own words to cheer her up is like big mood.
I picked something Chloe said.
What was that? I don't think I've chose that yet.
She says it's something along the lines of, and I should know this because I just got done playing it before we started recording, but it's something along the lines of it's what she said on the train, where like, let me know if you need a partner or something like that.
It's let me know if you need an accomplice.
That's it. Yeah. The reason I chose that is because I imagined that the world was feeling pretty empty for Rachel, and choosing something that Chloe said as just a reminder that Chloe was there for Rachel seemed apropos, seemed appropriate. So that's why I chose that. What did you guys do?
I think I chose Rachel's. Yeah.
It was the Rachel one. It was one from the stage, but I can't remember the exact quote. But it was really, really fucking beautiful. It was. Ow. Let me. I'll stall so I can get it.
Yeah, I honestly I can't remember what I chose.
Stall, please. Give me a.
What did you choose, Sean?
I think I picked the same one as I think Joey picked it. The other one.
The Chloe one?
The other
Yeah,
one.
the Chloe one. Because
I feel like I chose Rachel's. Maybe.
Hang on.
Go with your gut.
I accidentally.
honestly, I haven't played in so long. I probably just don't remember.
So, fun fact, on IGN you have to type in your age in order to see, what you're, in order to see the video.
Mm-hmm.
And, I was supposed to type in 21. I accidentally typed in just the number 1. So, I am apparently 1 years old.
Congrats.
Okay, I got it.
That's
All right,
legally
so-
binding, I think.
So, the quote that Rachel said, which I finally was able to find, is "The corners of the world are mere prologue." Which I felt like it was a really nice fit, because Chloe and Rachel, they were just talking about, like, I want to say like an hour ago in like the Before the Storm timeline, about how they want to, travel.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I felt like it was like,
Within the hour.
that would be lovely. Yeah.
Who do you think the Aladdin and who do you think the Jasmine is in that relationship?
I'm sorry, what?
Let me show you the world.
Yeah.
Oh,
Rachel is definitely Aladdin. 100%.
Oh my
Really?
God. I'd say Chloe is.
I was going to say Chloe's the Aladdin as well.
Because if you think about it, Rachel is like similar to Jasmine, where I haven't seen this movie in a while, so please.
Yeah, I guess she is
Be
more of like
careful
the princess.
Because
I was
like,
kind of
basically just trying to like disguise themselves to just so they can fit in with people.
Yeah, I
her.
was kind of thinking as well, because like Chloe comes from like a kind of broken home, and like they're not like doing great with like money and that kind of thing. Not to
she's
like
definitely
call
the
out
more,
Chloe
like-
and her lifestyle,
Right.
but like, and then Rachel's got like this like perfect home, and she's like supported by her like parents, and like she's the perfect student. She's like this kind of princess like ideal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's what I kind of thought. Anyway.
Yeah, I think I said Rachel was Aladdin because I felt like she was the one sort of like leading things throughout their relationship.
Oh yeah,
But,
that's true.
Yeah, Chloe was definitely the more rags to riches. She
Yeah,
ain't
totally.
dumb.
The real
She's got
So-
99 problems.
We see that she steals food.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
One jump.
true.
We'll see
Which
later.
is, that's a critical part to being Aladdin.
Right. That's
Um,
crucial.
there's something else that I thought was really romantic. Excuse me for saying this, but Rachel kind of dumped the flowers.
Oh
into the
yeah.
garbage and you could
Okay,
save
I
them.
have a complaint about this. Actually,
Whoa,
big
sorry,
complaint.
shit, I'm sorry.
English Sean alert.
I'm kicking off, right? Because I really wanted. I was like, when she picked up the flower, I really wanted her to go over to her and give it to her, and I was like, that's gonna be so cute, and then she didn't. So I'm just like, I was like, yes, Chloe, give her those flowers. That's so adorable. And then, like, I was just really disappointed. So all I want to say is, I wanted that option. I get angry about it. I'm very heated.
You fucked up, Deck 9. But
Yeah,
it's alright.
my one complaint.
I think
messed up.
it doesn't detract unless you just like actively let it detract from it. But I think it's comical that you go into Rachel's room while she's like laying on the bed, just like staring at the wall, crying. And you just go around digging through her shit, writing all over her things.
Because
Yeah,
and you
totally.
like write on the map that she's literally looking straight at, and it does
Yeah,
not
I know.
face her. Crazy.
We should probably move on. Otherwise, we'll just talk about every fucking detail and like
That's really funny.
we'll make comparisons. For example, I was thinking of who the hell would be the genie in the relationship.
Alright, that's a rabbit hole we do not want to go down.
Yeah. Join us in the next episode where we make Disney comparisons for every character in the Life is Strange universe.
I will say though that whole moment, just as a quick wrapping up, that whole moment was very lovely. It was very, very well done.
Yeah.
And
How about the light cover magically spins on top of the flashlight?
well,
Oh yeah.
What's up with that, though?
so
Okay,
Yeah, we
That's
actually have
actually-
the answer to
that's a
this.
good point.
they I had actually talked about that to Alejandro, and he said they did it originally where it wasn't spinning because why would it spin? That doesn't make any
Right.
sense. But they said it looked like shit, so they had to make it spin, and you just kind of have to like
Yeah.
It does
Yeah.
look
know
good.
what it is.
So.
But it is
Yeah.
very pretty.
Well,
But
like
see-
Rachel pointed that out as well, and I was like, yeah, they know it doesn't make sense. Don't worry about it.
I don't know. I'm like, and I think this is just because we are as far as we are in the Life is Strange series, but I have a very high threshold for my suspension of disbelief, and I would be okay with writing it off as it just appeared to be moving to them because of where they were and the fact they were together, and it just felt magic, and that's what we saw.
That's a lot more beautiful.
I like that.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
So,
So let's
we'll pin that in.
Yeah.
let's so
You're welcome.
let's talk about the nice conversation a little bit. They kind of talk about the stars a little bit. You know, it's like
Chloe's like, look at the stars.
it's like
see how they
Rachel's like
shine
the
for you."
star is dead, nothing matters. and then later on she's like, fuck it, I love the stars.
That's
No.
the best. That's the best summation of that scene I've heard so far.
I appreciate it. Yeah, but I do really love this conversation. Here's like a little bit of a nitpick that I have with this scene.
What's up?
It's where Chloe puts her arm around Rachel.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that doesn't sound that bad until you look at Rachel's arm behind her back. Okay?
Okay, what are you getting at?
Have you ever seen an arm bending the way that it shouldn't bend?
I don't think
like-
so.
Alright, so if you look at, like, I think it was her left arm, that it bends to your right. Imagine that behind your back, bending to the left. That's what I saw. It's like, oh, yikes.
I don't think I saw that.
I was.
Yeah, I don't think it's
I was
either.
trying to
Then
look
again,
it
I
up
was-
just now. I don't think there are any images of it.
Then again, it was like 4 a.m. and I was very tired, so it could have been just me. But anyway, yeah, this conversation with Chloe and Rachel, I almost said Max. But yeah, just talking about what the plan is about how they're gonna get in contact with Sarah. It was like had a nice little homage to episode 1, where Chloe was shouting at the what's the dude's bouncer.
Hmm. Oh right, yeah, where she says just like I told the bouncer,
Mm-hmm.
and then her spiel.
Yeah.
Come hell or high water.
I love Amber Price.
And that kind of kicks us off into, as they doze off in each other's
Depressive
arms.
City.
It brings us into the dream, which is, of the two cutscenes that I spoke of earlier, being like some of the best in the whole franchise. This is one of them. That cutscene is just fucking amazing.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree.
That's one of the ones I was thinking of whenever I said like it has some of my favorite moments in all of Life is Strange. I really like that part, and I really like a later part, but I won't hold this up.
I feel like what made that scene is not the stage direction of the actual thing. It's the interactions between William and Chloe, especially towards the end. That's what made the scene, and just Rihanna's performance.
I thought it was just really cool in general.
Yeah. The way that it was like Chloe on stage in front of the people who gave her the most anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, totally.
Speaking to William in a improv type situation, but going over the scene of William's death. And then they fucking did it. Like that part, like it hits you like the fucking truck that hits William.
Yeah.
And the truck hits William.
Yep.
It's fucking heavy as shit. And he's like, oh my god.
I've rewatched that scene multiple times, and it is as hard hitting as the first for me.
Mm-hmm.
What makes it is how no matter what happened, it's no matter what, even though it's just Chloe's consciousness, it's William reassuring Chloe that it's going to be okay, even though
totally.
Chloe knows it's not.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, motherfucker, it's not even an hour in and I'm fucking tearing up.
Yeah.
And his setup of it, where he's saying, it's just lights, and then the headlights come on and sound effects, and then like you hear the honking of the truck, and then man, it was fucking magnificent. That is like such a good scene.
Yeah, it's just like pleasing in every single way.
Yeah.
Yeah, the way they do these like really surreal dream sequences it's always amazing. And also, I think the thing that struck me most about this scene was, unless I'm remembering wrong, I feel like this was the most like violent scene ever portrayed in Life is Strange thus far. I mean, we've seen
I'd
blood,
say that it's one of them, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They actually show the truck like just plowing through William.
Yeah, and then like the blood smeared across the stage. It's pretty gruesome.
Right.
It was intense.
But I mean, also too, we see Chloe get shot and then bleed out on the bathroom floor.
There's a lot of violence in Life is Strange. I don't know if you've noticed.
Some being on screen compared to off, because I've like, I'll talk about it in a future episode. But yeah, just any kind of violence is in the Life is Strange franchise is not good. Then again, violence is not good in general. I don't know what I'm talking about.
I think
I do have a very small problem with this scene though, but I don't want to break how great the scene was.
What's your beef?
It's problem? The very end. I feel like since it was such an emotional scene, Victoria booing.
Oh yeah.
Kind of took some weight out of it.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah, like I've talked about how I don't really like that either, because it does kind of take you out of it real quick. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I didn't like that either.
Yeah, but it was a great scene nonetheless. I had a bit of a small problem with it.
It made it seem like an attempt at dark humor.
Yeah, totally.
But I think overall, it was just again phenomenal cutscene.
Yeah. Shall we go into the next scene then?
Yeah.
So we start off next in the next day in Chloe's bedroom. Chloe just lies down and she says she needs a shower.
Yeah, we see that David went through her room.
Mm-hmm.
David's just the worst. Man,
well,
Can we just
we'll get to
reaffirm
the
that?
worst later.
I have some sympathy for him in season 1, but Before the Storm, fucking hate him. Cannot stand him.
Yeah, I don't like him Before the Storm either. I
I'm
don't
not
really
sure-
like him in general, but
Yeah.
I can respect like some of the stuff he did in season 1.
So
Yeah.
there's this scene from Scrubs where JD is talking about one of the doctors and says you can just get an impression just by like how they're acting, and it just has a daydream of the doctor going, I'm a tool, I'm a really big tool. And it's like, that's David.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't like him, but I feel like my most hated character will appear later, which I'll talk about in great detail.
Yes.
I think we may have the same most hated character.
Yeah. Mikey.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Stay tuned to find out who it is.
I hate him as well.
Kidding. Yeah, but we get to explore a little bit before finding out that David's moved in properly. There's a graffiti option on the class photo. Okay, so yeah, David's moved in. It's basically you can get a shower by trying to find your towel in the white tub, and you get a little bit of a you find some blue dye.
Oh yeah.
Now, this would have been a great reveal if it wasn't in the trailer.
Yes, I was actually going to say that. I wish it wasn't. And I understand why they did it, because like so many people were hyped about seeing it. But
Yeah.
I think it would have been so much more impactful if you just saw it for the first time in game.
Yeah. But like, just to like touch on that, I kind of really like that whole montage that comes afterwards after Chloe like dyes her hair, because like you can see like how happy she is and like her getting to be that person like that we know her as, and like the whole
Yeah.
like revamping like her wardrobe and getting her cowgirl boots and all that.
You became.
I really, yeah. I really like that scene, because just for like a moment, like Chloe's like so at peace with who she is and like her life, just for like that brief moment. And I don't know, I think it was really nice, especially because like there was so much happening at the beginning of the episode, and there's so much that happens afterwards. I just thought it was like a really kind of melancholic scene.
There's something that I kind of want to talk about as well regarding, like, because you got to decide the outfit that you wear for the day. I saw the perfect opportunity that would have been amazing for an outfit choice whilst I was replaying it today. And hanging up in Chloe's room is William's favorite jacket, right?
Right.
And she says that whenever Chloe and Rachel move out, that she's definitely taking that with her. That would
Right.
have been
Well,
a great like outfit choice, right?
it wouldn't have fit her, is the thing. It would have like.
But she had
really-
like sewing tools and stuff.
I mean, she could have. Yeah, she could have. But then you have to like. Do you really like want to montage that in or anything like that? But I mean, also too, the type of jacket, it's kind of hard to hem up. But
Yeah, but it was something that I want to see. I don't know. I'm a dumb. But anyway, yeah. It was a really good montage, especially with. I felt like with the blue dye, I just had to go classic Chloe.
Yeah.
I had
Why
to.
wouldn't you?
But there was. I want to say like if I wouldn't have went for classic Chloe, I would have went for a flannel. The Arcade Bay Garage.
I went for the denim jacket.
Yeah.
I like the denim jacket. It's one of my faves.
Yeah, I put on the Rachel's shirt, the ice cream cone guy.
What was the shirt? It was like a maroonish color.
Oh yeah, I know the one.
That's the one I chose.
I like
that was I think
like
that was
the-
one of the earlier options, wasn't it?
For episode 2.
Like when you're in the shed in the junkyard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember.
But it's like with the raven hair kind of thing.
I think this scene has like one of the most on brand Chloe moments, which is that you have a like already withered and dead plant, and you can choose to water it
with soda.
Yeah.
She just pours like what's left of a soda in it. She's like, "That's good enough."
Yeah.
So good.
They're in the stats at the end. I mean, it dies either way. It either dies from neglect or dies from soda. But yeah, soda.
Don't we all though?
I love her like her concern like, man, I need to water this thing. It's looking rough. And then she just, this'll do.
Drink up, buttercup.
Big mood.
We need to move on because there's still a lot that we need to talk about.
Yeah. Well, we can
Alright.
we can trim out the non-important parts. We can stick to the main beats.
Okay,
Yeah.
so let's trim out the next scene coming up with David. I'm kidding.
Who
So,
needs it?
no, although, I do like this scene, even though I hate David. Sorry, guys. But, I just like seeing how happy Joyce is in this scene.
Yes.
Yeah.
It makes me so fucking happy. It's like, yes. I'm so happy that Joyce is happy. Could she do better? Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I like that she's happy. I'm not saying I don't know that I don't want her to be happy, but it's under false pretenses because because David has like made this promise that he's going to give Chloe space, and he's going to start trusting her. Start trusting her and all that. But
Yeah.
he
with
also just neglected the fact that he fucking like tore apart her room. And Joyce didn't know that. So like, I don't know. I want Joyce to have this sense of her like her household being happy again and like being together again, but not like this.
In the end, it's her household because, like in season 1, she said that her name is on the deed.
Right.
Yeah. I already really didn't like Madsen, but like this like even makes him like more like unlikable, just because like you said, he like promises to like give her space and stuff, and then you go play season 1 and he's like installed security cameras in the house and stuff.
Right.
Yeah, David is very, very unlikable.
So let's talk about the first major choice that you get. It's to keep or reject the photo. I honestly accepted it because I didn't want any more shit. Even though I knew what was happening in season 1. I just want Joyce to be happy now. So I just accepted it.
That's kind of what I did as well. It's like just like in this moment, like
Yeah.
for the short amount, maybe they can just be normal for a little bit.
And give David his due. He did send a nice text later, though. Even though.
Oh, if you keep it.
I forgot about the text, but yeah, I took it. It was mostly for Joyce, but also like I don't know. Throughout Before the Storm, I really tried to like role play Chloe and put myself in her shoes because she's so different than who I am. But it was one of those moments where like, man, if somebody's like really trying to connect with me and like extend an olive branch, no matter how much I dislike them, like I'm gonna give it a fair shot. It's a nice gesture.
Yeah.
My entire playthrough Before the Storm has been, at least my initial playthrough has been trying to pick what I think Chloe would actually pick. And whereas like the contrast to that is like season 1 is there was more of like what would I do in this situation, but with Before the Storm I always tried to pick it as more of like what would Chloe do in this situation. And but also too I was just so mad at David. So it was a little bit of both here, but I rejected the thing. I mean, like I sympathize with him on his loss. That's rough, but and the extension of the olive branch and trying to be like, hey, I know this is hard, but it was just it sucked so bad. His apology was garbage.
Yeah.
He tore through the room, and it was just like, I don't know. To me, it was like kind of insult to injury. It's like, really? Do you really know what I'm going through? You're going to say that I mean, sure, we both lost someone that was like close to us, but this is different. And, you know, you don't have some asshole trying to fill the role of the person you lost. So I was just kind of like, no, fuck you, David. And so I rejected the letter. I mean, not the letter, the picture.
Yeah. Zach?
I accepted it because I think I was pretty much in the same mindset as most of you, and that like it was just to like kind of like suck up and like make Joyce happy.
Squash the beef.
Yeah, squashing the beef temporarily.
Just don't burn down the apartment.
Try not to, yeah. On your Thanksgiving dinner.
Yeah. So yeah, we head to the junkyard now to fix up the truck.
This is
getting William's tools, and
this part was also one of my like favorite bits. Like,
Yeah.
it was cool to see Chloe like fix up the like iconic truck that she has for season 1.
the
Yeah.
cool thing is that you can actually, I think it was episode 1 or 2, where you find the leaf, like the flyers for the car, so you take them, and they actually help you out in free.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was cool, because like it was labeled with other stuff. It was because I was playing, and in the previous episode I didn't get the leaflet.
Uh-huh.
So like the duct tape was like called some fucker thingy or something like that.
Yeah, that's what I had.
Yeah, but I feel like if you did, if I might be remembering this wrong, it'll be called something else.
Oh.
Which was cool.
That's
But yeah,
Yeah.
we do get a little bit of a cameo in this scene though, from Skip.
Yeah, you can listen to
Yeah.
his band again on the radio.
I like how terrible he is. I like how
his
terrible of a
enemies.
presence he has on air.
Yeah.
Fucking same. It's just me in general.
Hi.
Do you have a message for fans of your band? Pisshead rules? Minimize pizza?
I want a spin-off episode about Skip. His backstory.
Yeah.
Oh, same.
So I wonder because you can read on Chloe's laptop, going back to her room real quick. On Chloe's laptop, there's an article about Pisshead, and in the article, for me, because Skip still had his job from episode 2, he talks about how he's willing to do anything to keep the dream alive, even if it seems like it's holding him back. He's talking about like basically keeping his day job, but I wonder like what the different option, like what it reads if you let Skip quit.
Yeah,
or you cause him to quit.
I would have done that, but I just wanted Skip to be okay. I didn't want him to quit because he's so likable. I was like, I don't know.
The one thing that's so cool about Before the Storm, just as a whole to me, is how varying everything is. And I know we've talked on this before, so I won't go on too much about it. But there's just so much, like every little thing changes so much, and it's very, very cool to see all the different changes that can take place just based on like small things that you choose to say or do in previous moments. And so there's like just a ton of replayability, and now that I've got like kind of like the emotionally connected initial playthrough fully done, I want to go back and kind of explore to see what all the different options are and kind of do like alternate choice playthroughs and stuff like that. But I digress.
We were talking about Chloe's laptop, but this isn't really relevant right now. But I am still curious who Miss Arcadia is, and I always will be. And I did ask Felice like ages ago if like she knew who it was, and she said that she'd asked someone in the office, but I didn't think she ever got round to it. But I just want to know who it was.
It's I wouldn't be surprised if it was someone like Miss Grant.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
Because from what we know from Miss Grant from Before the Storm and season 1, that she does care about her students. So I wouldn't not believe that, she would do something like that to kind of help others. She does have that kind of caring part of the personality and for other people's stuff.
Miss Arcadia kind of has her finger on the pulse of all the gossip, and as well as like, the technical stuff. So I was imagining it would be like an older student, like a senior at Blackwell.
Oh, true.
Just because of like how in the know they were, not only with all the gossip and stuff going around town, but as well as like actually like what the official channels are putting out and stuff like that. Just very, very connected. Like I said, finger on the pulse of Arcadia Bay.
I personally believe it's Samuel.
Is it like that Simpsons episode, Mr. X?
No, he's like Hannah Montana.
Oh.
He's like security guard by day and like gossip girl by night.
True. Can you say that you've ever seen Samuel and Miss Arcadia in the same room together? Think about that, listeners.
Oh God, just saying gossip girl reminds me of that little kid vine. It's like XOXO.
Gossip girl.
Yeah.
One does not become Miss Arcadia overnight, Chloe Price.
No. Anyway, back to Skip. I just thought it was a nice song to listen to.
Yeah.
She did the stuff. So yeah, it's kind of a weird. Not weird. It was nice to see. That you could fix it, and you can actually. It was nice to have that interaction.
Yeah,
it's like I accomplished something. Yay!
It wasn't hard, but at the same time, because with it being easy to figure out what you needed to do, it didn't feel contrived though. It felt like a nice like interactivity with the environment to get through. It was another going back to like the opening scene. It was another way of parsing what could just be exposition, but they made it where it felt like a nice little inclusive thing.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
So yeah, I liked that part quite a bit. And then after you get it up and running,
drive it.
Chloe goes drifting around the junkyard.
Spark plug.
Oh yeah, well,
she gets a spark plug from William's car, which I felt like was a. It's funny because William actually mentioned it in the dreams. Like, can't be the spark plug. I just got that replaced.
Yeah.
So I feel like her dreams actually influenced her to get the spark plug from that car.
But there's also a reference in like episode 1 to the spark plug
carbon deposits
with David.
I feel like the referencing of spark plugs is exactly something I would do because it's like the one part of a car that I know. So to like try to sound like I know about cars, I would just like talk about spark plugs all the time.
Yeah.
Headlight fluid.
Yeah.
You definitely got a faulty spark plug.
The wiper juice.
Gonna have to order parts.
Anyway, you get a drift. It's unfortunately we know that not many people know that this was actually cut for, because of copyright reason. Initial D was playing for this scene with Deja Vu.
Deja Vu.
They couldn't get the rights.
Yeah. Because it wasn't a hit meme yet.
I wish the train would do some multi-track drifting.
Have you seen like the toy model of a train actually doing that?
Yeah,
it's so fucking good.
This is why our episodes take so long.
Because
we're loving fucks.
It's like fucking non sequiturs. We're worse than Family Guy.
This is
actually, we're not
this
worse than Family Guy. Nothing is worse than Family Guy.
Yeah, that's true.
So yeah, you get to you wash. Well, you kind of like get your hand rid of oil on your hands, and you basically get to see how happy Chloe is with her look, kind of like who she is at that moment in time.
And you get some flirting from Rachel.
Yeah, honestly, I want Rachel's jacket.
Same.
It looks so fucking cool. I want it.
Their style is impeccable.
I remember taking like a screenshot of the both of them standing next to each other in the junkyard, and I thought it was like, I don't know, it was adorable. I love that scene. I mean, I know a lot of stuff was going down, but
Right.
I just like seeing them together.
Yeah, and I noticed something as well, that it still had like the stuff left over from episode 2 with the outfits and stuff.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But on the duffel bag, it had Chloe's beanie, even though I was clearly wearing Chloe's beanie. So I was like, is that a 2-pack or something?
It was just 2 beanies stuffed into one when she found them.
Alright, so once after you've kind of like washed your hands and you kind of flirt with Rachel a little bit, you see Frank, who's a little bit early because we totally talked about the phone call that he had with Chloe. Definitely did.
Mm-hmm.
Don't listen back, please. And he brought a friend, fucking Damon Merrick. He's not the
nerve.
he's one of the people that I hate the most.
Contender for largest tool in the Life is Strange series.
Yes.
Yeah.
He can meet me in the pit, bro.
Damon is a fantastic antagonist.
He is.
In the sense that I don't like him, so I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is that he is a fantastic antagonist that you feel just such like.
You feel threatened by him.
Disdain.
He's just.
Yeah, totally.
He's such a well-written character, and that they do such a good job of making you hate him, and him just being this kind of scary just piece of shit. Just I honestly think that he ended up in the long run being a better antagonist than Jefferson did.
Yeah. I feel like
you really you think so?
One thing that kind of like Damon kind of had above Jefferson was that Damon was not afraid to kill somebody. He was ready to fucking fight.
Mm-hmm.
Was Jefferson is kind of like leaving it to like he's like he doesn't kill because he has some weird fucked up belief.
Well, Jefferson's also just very milquetoast, and his the entire predication of his, or not predication.
It's like his ideology is like the loss of innocence.
Well, the entire premise of his role as an antagonist is he only works when he has control, when he has the power, and he is quick. We see with his showdown with David and all that, he is quick, but if you take that away from him, he's just this very milquetoast gross man, whereas Damon is just through and through kind of this frankly terrifying, while remaining disgusting person.
And we got a little bit of a tease of it with episode 2 with Drew as well. We got to see kind of the rough side of him then, and we only knew bad things of Damon's name as well.
Right.
Which
I felt like the framing of him as an antagonist and his reveal as an antagonist and all that was, well, it didn't have the oh my god, Jefferson did it
shock
type feel.
Yeah.
I feel like it was a good build up, especially for the previous 2 episodes, and just the confrontation with him at the junkyard is you stop prying in the business, and then he was more or less about to leave them alone until Chloe says fucking Rachel.
See, I think another thing too is Jefferson fails in his own ego.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you have the confrontation with Jefferson, it's easy to point that out. It's easy to pinpoint that and exploit that, as we see Max does. And with Damon, he doesn't have that. The only thing that stops him literally is Frank. Otherwise, he would have killed Rachel. He would have killed you.
Mm-hmm.
There, so that's why I think I like him as an antagonist more than Jefferson. It's just because he seemed more of a indomitable force.
Yeah. So when you say, not to get too far into this, but when you say Jefferson is milquetoast, I don't think that's inaccurate. I think that Jefferson is he just plays mind games a lot more. He's much more into psychological torment than actual killing. Whereas Damon,
yeah, totally.
Damon doesn't mess around, right? Like, he just, like, he doesn't play games with you. He doesn't, like, you know, give you a chance to escape or anything like that. He's just like, you're dead. Like, I'm going to kill you. So I think they're just different types of antagonists. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think they're just different types of antagonists, and it could be subjective as to who's a better antagonist. But I think, at the very least, Joey, I would agree that he's much more menacing. Like, I think the whole point of Jefferson was like that we weren't supposed to know until almost the very end that he was the antagonist.
And I'm not speaking objectively. Like, I'm not saying that he is objectively a better antagonist.
Right.
I'm just saying, like, I liked him as an antagonist more.
Yeah. I also think he's interesting just because of the fact, like, when you see him compared to Frank in Before the Storm, Frank is, like, a much, like, softer person to what we've seen in season 1, and so you can kind of see where he gets those characteristics from, and, like, where he's adopted that mindset.
Yeah.
Right.
And, like, it's still interesting, though, because I don't find Frank near as terrifying as I found Damon, but maybe that's just because we've seen, like, a softer side to him.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Whereas, like, Damon just doesn't have that side at all.
And Frank still has, he still maintains humanity throughout everything. Yeah. Season 1, he's a lot worse than he is in Before the Storm, even.
Yeah.
As far as, like, what he's doing, but he still maintains humanity. And which is why he's like my problematic fave of the series, but because he really is a scumbag. But I think he's a really good character. Frank is, but Damon doesn't have that at all. He's just a fucking he's
just a jerk, just a
downright
jerk,
big meanie.
Oh boy! So shall we move on from Damon and talk about the
The uh-oh.
The uh-oh is basically what happens is that Damon finds out that Rachel is a DA's daughter, trying to get information on him, whilst I believe I can't remember who distracts. I think it's Frank that distracts Damon. Rachel hits Damon over the head with a plank of wood.
Yeah, that's it.
They have a little bit of a kerfuffle, and Damon stabs Rachel in the arm.
Yeah. And
I feel like I've said before, I said before the episode came out, I was like, I wonder, since Burn It Down came out, you know, like before the Storm did, it's like, when is that going to be used in the game? And I didn't want it like this. I didn't. And just seeing like Rachel in pain, Chloe panicking, it made me really, really sad. I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
So I can't listen to that song again. Thank you, Deck Knight.
I think also too the part where Chloe freezes and Rachel gets stabbed.
Oh yeah.
Is a very vital scene to understanding like Chloe's mindset in season 1.
Yeah.
Her confrontation, like she's even more confrontational than she was in Before the Storm. Yeah. And I think that's such a crucial point because Chloe, of course, blames herself for Rachel getting stabbed and almost dying because she froze, and which is completely understandable. Like I'm not faulting her or saying that she shouldn't have done that. Like in that situation, you know, how do you expect someone to behave like a fucking perfect guardian, you know?
Yeah, especially because she's 16, you know.
Right, exactly. But I think that it's such a vital scene in understanding Chloe as she is in season 1, where she is much more in the face of everybody, and when put in the face of danger, she doesn't really freeze up anymore. And so I think this is kind of a vital scene for that.
Yeah.
Stop it! Sorry. Something was started to play on my phone for some reason, even though I didn't let it.
Thought you were yelling at me.
No, I was yelling at Josh Brolin. Don't worry about it.
Stop the podcast.
So, shall we move into the hospital?
Yes.
So,
the hopsicle.
Chloe basically, it has a nice like montage of Chloe just waiting in the room whilst all these different people are coming and going, like James and Rose. Oh, never mind. I got confused with Titanic for a second. And then like you know you just see a lot of people come and go and just see how distraught how distraught Chloe is, and just getting James to kind of have that conversation with Chloe, just getting a rundown of what's happening, and like why they were there in the first place.
I feel like that time lapse was good. It was good at portraying like the anxiety that Chloe was facing, waiting for Rachel to come to or hear anything about Rachel, and also just portraying, like, even though it was time lapsed, it still did a good job of portraying just how long that wait would be, not only in actual chronological time, but in just how long it would feel.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely well done. And we get to see Steph again. She basically talking about how dependent on episode 2, Mikey or Drew are in the other room. You can drop by and say hi, and you get a little bit of an exploratory section here, which I really do appreciate in these kinds of games. Especially one of my favorite being the vending machine.
Right, I was just about to talk about that. It's another very on brand for Chloe moment.
Yeah.
I don't recall what happens. I remember the vending machine. I don't remember what happens.
There's a candy bar, or like an energy bar, or some sort of food item that's about to fall. It's like stuck on the glass, and so you're in this like quiet hospital lobby, and it takes 3 attempts to knock it loose, but
it's not subtle.
It's just
I remember
Chloe
that,
fucking like slamming and kicking and hitting the vending machine to get a candy bar.
And she said, I could do it for like 20 more. I need like 20 more of these. It was like, she wouldn't. And then it's like, he didn't give you the option. It's like, okay. I would have, though. But yeah, it had a nice graffiti on the vending machine as well.
I actually missed that.
Yeah, I think I missed all 3 of like the graffitis in the hospital.
Yeah, I did as well.
Yeah, I don't think I did any of them.
Well, no, I take that back. I got Drew's cast, but I missed the others.
There's a little bit of a nice resolution with a story from episode 1 as well, which I really like here.
Oh, with the couple?
I really did like that. It's like, glad I did steal the wine. Because I felt really bad about it, and it's like,
yeah, I thought it was nice. It was a nice little tie-up of all loose ends that they were doing with that.
I think I missed that. What happens? I remember
if you
the
walk
couple.
off, right? So like if you walk off toward the elevator, the couple that you steal the wine from, that later you have, like, Rachel is pretending to be passed out. They walk out of the elevator and they're going to a Lamaze class, I believe. And so they're just talking, like they're all happy together and talking about like the baby and all that, and the lady says you'll make a great dad, and then Chloe remarks that she's glad that she stole the wine.
Yeah, I think I must have missed that. It's nice though.
Yeah, it was a nice little. There was a few things in the hospital I missed, even though I tried to like pretty extensively like search everything.
I didn't know until like my second or third playthrough. I'm sorry that I'm kind of going over that. There's a D&D section in the hospital.
Yeah. I missed that.
I did too. And then when I tried to go back and play it, I don't know, I couldn't play it either. I missed it again.
I'm wondering, is that only available if Drew is the one?
It's Mikey who gets hurt.
I mean, Mikey gets hurt.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be why then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and it just seems... I've seen it, though, where, you know... oh, no. Oh, God. I'm blanking here. Help me.
What?
Calamastia. There we go. Kind of gets resurrected.
How could we
gets
forget?
to help fight. I'm sorry. It took me a while because my brain's slow today. Yeah, but I have seen it. It's a very cool sequence, and I really want to play it on my own.
Yeah, I'll have to go back and do that.
As well as
Sorry, Mikey, but I really want to play D&D again. So you gotta get.
I want to play D&D with you, so you're gonna have to get fucked up, get hospitalized, so we can do that.
But I feel like there was a silver lining for Drew getting hurt, and that is the backtalk challenge with the pudding.
Right.
Oh yeah, totally.
I pissed him off with the with talking about Damon, and maybe that just happens anyway.
Yeah, it happens anyway.
Right, and so like I wasn't gonna steal the pudding because I was like, how do you just walk into someone's room and take their fucking pudding? But then like after I did everything else, I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's do it. And I'm glad I did because it actually cheers Drew up.
You can.
And it sparks off the back talk challenge with Drew for getting the pudding, and it actually cheers him up in some sort of weird way.
Yeah, it's friendly competition. That's what it is.
And
I love the resolution if you win it though. It's so fucking good. Like Chloe's like, we'll share it.
Yeah.
And then Drew's like, oh okay, and she just yanks it and eats it all. I was like, oh, so good.
and then that gives you the ability to sign Drew's cast.
Yeah, I totally missed that.
I fucking love Rihanna DeVries' Chloe in that scene too. It's so fucking good. Just the mocap and the vocal performance makes it where she's just eating the pudding and just looks up and Drew's like, oh yeah, so good.
Yeah.
She needs a special award just for that moment.
Yeah.
Best pudding.
Best pudding eating simulation.
We kind of skimmed over. I think his name's Anthony, right? Anthony North.
I don't know his first name.
I think it's Anthony.
The dad? Yeah, I can't remember.
Yeah.
Mr. North.
But if you give Drew the money, it kind of shows like how it's affected him. For me, he's like moving back in. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like you got to kind of tell on them. It's like I only know that I've only met them this weekend, dude. Like, okay. Well, I got a phone call, so I'll see you later.
I mean, my dialogue was different for that, but because he asks you, at least in my dialogue options, he asks you why Drew and Mikey are acting so suspicious, and I chose to tell him that he would have to ask Drew, which alludes that there is something going on, but that she doesn't want to be the one to give the details. And then he takes the phone call.
Mm-hmm. There's also another small thing that you kind of need to go beyond, like the elevator bit with the couple is Samantha.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's very dependent on like how you branch it off with.
It's also very
Samantha
uncomfortable.
And Nathan.
Because my playthrough, like, you know, basically set Samantha and Nathan up, and whatever happens to Samantha that she's in the hospital, the dialogue there is like, it almost seems as if, I mean, we hear that this is kind of the start of like Nathan's like affinity for photographing. What's the word? Photographing the macabre, but it almost seems it's almost framed like whatever happened to Samantha. Like Samantha believes it to be an accident. She says she's clumsy or whatever, and Nathan is like, I feel so bad about it. You never really know what happened, but it almost seems like, oh yeah, we do know what happened. I guess she gets hit by a biker, because he says I should have seen that biker coming. But it almost seems like he framed that whole thing so that he could take the pictures. Because Samantha says something like, she says like, I'm honored that you want to photograph me.
There's another like option where Sean and not Haley's mother, Samantha's mother, who is played by Haley, I should say, you know, kind of have an argument as well.
Oh really?
Yeah, and like if that's there, it means like Samantha and Nathan kind of drift apart. And not like Samantha. I'll explain later. towards the very end of the episode. But I was glad just to see in my original playthrough that Samantha and Nathan were kind of apologizing. It's basically they said it was both of their faults and stuff.
Yeah.
It was nice. I was just happy that Samantha was happy. I'm a sucker for people that for characters that I care about being happy.
Yeah.
Like Kate, Joyce, Samantha. I just want everyone to be happy.
Oh, mood.
The world that could have been.
Yeah, and on that note of Samantha, it's kind of sad that we never get to see how her life pans out.
Right.
She's happy.
She's it is kind of odd that, I mean, Steph you can kind of write off because she is a very distinct side character, but you can also just if you don't hook her up with Rachel, or if you don't steer it in that direction or whatever, she doesn't really play too big of a role in Chloe or Rachel's life or whatever. But I mean, Samantha obviously plays a somewhat important role in Nathan's life, and I guess you could just they're 16, so you could write that one off as well as they 2 months later they're
well, it also depends
on each
on
other.
I think that's a good point. It also depends on, we can get to this later, but I guess depending upon the choices you make, or your interactions with Nathan, or I still to this day don't know what affects it, but you do in one scenario get some sort of closure between Samantha and Nathan.
Well, I know, jumping ahead, I know there's in the little prologue where it's the montage of all the characters.
Mm-hmm.
To see Nathan go up and sit against the tree with Samantha while they're reading.
Joey.
But it's Samantha seems weird that that she could potentially be a relatively significant person in Nathan's life, but then we don't know what happens to her after that.
Right.
Well, okay, so there's a theory.
Mm-hmm.
In season 1 when you see the binders,
Oh boy.
in Jefferson's binders, one of the names on it is Samantha, so people think she might have been a victim. I think I might have read somewhere it was confirmed. Don't quote me on that, but I think someone from Don't Nod might have said that it was her. I'm not sure though. That's a theory that I've read though.
I would like to officially announce that I'm leaving.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if
leaving
you were curious what happens to her, there's an idea.
No thanks.
That sucks.
I didn't ask for this.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I never asked for this. I guess I mean, that's entirely possible, and if it was confirmed. But I mean, doesn't Max remark something about how no one has gone missing in Arcadia Bay before Rachel for a very long time? She says there was someone else, but it was years ago.
I think so. I don't quote us on that. I know there's there's a website with missing people, and Rachel is one of the youngest on there.
Yeah, I am positive that Max says something about how no one has gone missing in Arcadia Bay before Rachel in a very long time. I don't remember the time frame. I don't remember the span of time, but
yeah.
Speaking of Rachel, we get to go into her room.
Yeah. Good God, it took us for fucking ever to get to this point.
It took us about half hour before we let's talk about what Rachel tells us to do, which is break into our house. Well, not really break in.
Alright. James is fucking sloppy. He is fucking sloppy. For a DA, especially for a DA working on a high profile murder case, fucking sloppy. What sloppy man
What,
James
his password?
Is. What?
What, for his password? For his office?
No, just for being a high profile DA, working on this murder case, which we find out a little bit later, the deal with that, but just the fact that he's leaving a fucking key under the mat. His password, that's weak. It's definitely weak, but that's I don't know, the least thing that I'll slight him for on being sloppy. But his whole fucking office is just, what a shitty DA. I gotta say.
Drake
We'll
is
talk
a
about
fuck.
that more, but man, he is a
Top 10
sloppy,
worst DAs.
just a sloppy man.
Number 7 will surprise the shit out of you.
My favorite thing about breaking into his office is that, like, you're supposed to be like, alright, this is like a stealth mission. Nobody's supposed to know I'm here. But you can also just, like, fucking graffiti it.
Yeah, like the bottle.
It's so funny.
It's, you know, the what's the word? The climax of that whole sequence, when you start getting into the shit with Damon and the phone, and you start realizing like what's going on, it made me think like, oh shit, well, graffitiing this was definitely a really bad idea because I'm burning fucking evidence in a murder case, or an assault case at least. And but then again, I thought that was like my initial thought, but then I was like, well, you know, James isn't going to do anything to incriminate himself, so he's not going to bring this up at all. Because that would just be the fact that he stole evidence and had it is damning of him, which he would not do. James is fucking sloppy.
That just made me think of like the police like reporting to the scene. It's like, what do we have here? We have someone who broke in, vandalized the place. They drew in his desk. All right, anything taken? Nothing but the DA's dignity because they just fucking drew him as Frankenstein on the fridge. That's about it.
Sorry, I realised I don't think we talked about it, but it's just because this character's coming up now. But in the hospital, when you see, oh my god, I've forgotten his name.
Elliot,
yeah, you see Elliot, and he's just being a fucking idiot and annoying and making everything about himself and his crush on Chloe. He is like there's a bit where he's like, oh, what happened? And then if you explain it to him, he's like, oh, but are you okay? And Chloe's like, Rachel got stabbed, and he's like, ooh, I hope you're okay. I hate him so much.
Not even Hot Dog Man could redeem him.
I love it. I love Angry Sean.
No, he's just so annoying. Like, not
The
even
good part about him. Sorry.
He's like not even in the way
blind.
that Warren's like kind of like in season 1. Obviously, Warren has like this little crush on Max, and like he's a bit like overbearing at times. Like
Warren's understanding.
Yeah,
though.
Elliot's just a dick about it, and he just like, oh god, I hate him so much.
Hey, he shows his fucking ass in episode 3.
Yeah, he really does. And like him in the hospital scene, he just really aggravated me, and that's when I knew I wanted to fight him.
So there's this thread that I've this text thread that I saw a while ago that reminds me of Elliot perfectly. It's a conversation between this guy and this girl. This guy asks what you you at the girl said, I'm just at the shower. The guy's like, what you wearing? It's like a towel. It's like, what's underneath the towel? It's like another towel. It's like, oh really? What's under that? It's like another towel. It just keeps going.
Towels all the way down, man.
Yeah.
Or towels down here.
Fuck Elliot though. Well, might as well just get into it though.
The only good part about Elliot in this episode was that he brought about that get well soon hot dog man.
Oh yeah. That's actually a complaint I had because I was replaying it and I was like, he doesn't fucking deserve that.
Yeah. Only the brave and the bold can wield the hot dog man of truth.
Exactly.
But
Yeah, so after we do everything that Damon wants us to do, which is like this is the moment where I spoke earlier about how the episode does a good job of making you come around to James and then making you hate him even more than you did before. This is the scene where it's like, well, fuck you, James.
Yeah, just saying, God, like the image of Sarah is like, wow, and like all the letters and stuff.
Yeah.
I feel like when James told Rachel about all this stuff, he should have just shown her the fucking letters. That would have been the perfect opportunity. It's like, you know, it's like she didn't want to contact, and like she didn't want to like contact me until now. It's like, nope.
He was trying to fucking have Sarah killed.
Yeah, that's the fucking worst
I know,
part.
right?
By fucking Damon as well.
Like,
he's such a rat.
Excuse me, like, yeah, he's just he's a piece of shit through and through. But I will say, and we'll talk about this later, it made a choice that's coming up extremely difficult, probably one of the like toughest choices that I've had in Life is Strange. But we'll get to that later.
Does that have to do with the corkboard?
What?
The corkboard with like the evidence.
Wait, are you talking about the end decision?
Yeah.
That's what I thought you were talking about.
Yeah. I was thinking it was like the corkboard.
No, the corkboard was easy.
Who you had to blame.
Because the file on his desk is...
You spill by beer, bitch. That guy. Fuck that guy. I hate him.
He's a legend.
Bitch. No. It's like, it was very limited to, like, you could check and see who it was, but unfortunately, like the informant was the guy that I liked. It's like, I don't want to rat on him. It's like, oh, it's Skeevan McGee over here. I'll fucking throw him under the bus.
But, so we get the money, and then all of a sudden, fucking Elliot has to show up.
Oh, boy.
Like I said, I was kind of skeptical about him until he walked into the house. It was like, you fucking followed me here.
Yeah.
Fuck you, buddy.
Episode 3 just...
Maybe Elliot is the true antagonist.
You see his true nature come out.
I mean, he definitely is an antagonist, if not the antagonist.
I don't know who I hate more in the Life is Strange franchise. Jefferson, Damon, or fucking Elliot.
Why not all three? No, I thought...
But the thing is, with Damon, he has a kind of redeeming quality. Elliot doesn't.
So, I thought it was really interesting what they did with Elliot. One, because I thought, up until this point, he was completely inconsequential, and I thought it was, like, them kind of, like, taking a playful jab at the whole Warren thing, where, like, you didn't really want him around, but he was just always kind of there, and...
right.
But I was also... And I want to be careful. I don't know if impressed is the word I would use, but I guess that's what I'm going to go with. Because I think, especially nowadays, with the way that certain things are, the fact that they made a character like Elliot, who has this very overbearing and twisted mentality of what it means to be a caring friend, or, you know, even I would go so far as to say, like, romantic in his own eyes. And how scary and terrifying that can be for the person on the other end.
It just brings the question of consent into
and it totally kind of shows like the whole thing about like how entitled some people can feel about like especially being in the friend zone and kind of that kind of thing. There's a lot of people who get so entitled and defensive about it, and like obviously can be quite dangerous. And like I was worried when playing that scene that it was going to go somewhere else. And I was like, oh shit. And because obviously, like, there's a lot of people who have been in those kinds of situations with people who can become, like, violent when they don't get what they want. So, yeah, I would, like, say that, like, that kind of, the realism of, like, that situation happening in a lot of people's lives, I thought that was, like, impressive as well, I guess I'd say.
Mm-hmm. One thing that I fucking hate about him as well, I'm sorry, but I really do hate Elliot, is that Chloe calls him... a stalker, but he has the definition of it memorized. Yeah, it's like he's obsessed that he's not a
totally.
Stalker.
He's just had to convince himself, like he knows what he's doing is wrong, but then is still convincing himself otherwise.
Yeah, God, I fucking hate him. I'm glad that he's no longer a thing.
He's honestly he's such a
scumbag.
He's such a good manifestation of the fear that all women have, unfortunately, in dealing with men, and it's I really hope people took this sequence and took it to heart and put it in perspective of this is a very real thing that happens to so many women, and it's when they say that this is a very real fear, it's real. Like fucking listen to them.
Yeah.
And I would argue maybe that having to make people go through this, especially if this is something that's like triggering for them, is kind of like I don't know if maybe that's the best thing to do, but it's still. I don't know. It was such a very real and very very well manifested.
another point about it as well is, like, as a, like, queer woman, that can be, like, very much a situation you go through as well. Like, him being like, oh, why Rachel, like, not understanding, like, why she'd want to be around a girl, like, as if he doesn't understand, like, they're romantically involved as well, but he doesn't understand why she would be putting a woman above him. Like, that happens, like, quite a lot. That's happened to me. I've had really, like, good male friends who I thought were, like, just good male friends, but then they seem to think, like, oh, no, that can't be the situation because you're in my life. So, like, that, like, obviously it happens to women and, like, men and that kind of thing, but I feel like it, just speaking from someone who's gay as well, like, that is a situation I found myself in.
Right. Yeah,
It's a really, really, really fucking, like, tough topic to, like, portray in media, and they did a really good job with it as well.
Yeah, I would agree.
I really do like the backtalk challenge, though, even though I did fail it a few times originally, but I kept on reloading the checkpoint because I was not giving Elliot any satisfaction at
totally.
all.
Oh, yeah.
Can you guys educate
me? I don't know how it turns out if you don't succeed. Because, like, you have to, like, subtly, like, dial 911, right? And then...
Yeah, and you kind of have to, like, give in code. It's like, I need help.
Yeah. So I was... The first time I played it, I was playing with my buddy in Virginia, and we succeeded, and then... because I knew what to say, I succeeded when I played on my own too, but I don't know what happens if you don't.
I don't either, because I reloaded.
Okay, so I let the fail happen. Because which this is something I brought up, I think maybe in our episode 1 or maybe episode 2, I'd said how, like, all the backtalk challenges so far have been really easy, and I was hoping that they were gonna throw a hard one at us in 3, and they definitely followed up with that.
Yeah.
But I believe if you fail, you throw something through the window, setting off the house alarm.
Yeah, it's it's a trophy.
And yeah, that's what I thought. And it spooks him, and I think he just runs, and I think Chloe runs out right after him.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because when she lowers the window, it beeps the alarm, and she says, "Don't mess with that." So.
Yeah. So you just throw something through the window. Yeah, which is definitely a good way of dealing with that situation.
Yeah.
Cool. I feel like we should move on because we're getting quite close to the end of the episode.
Yeah.
So we get a nice scene of Chloe just parking up through the obliterated forest because it's just burned up. But luckily the fire's out, and you get to see it like a nice interaction with Ghost, William, and Chloe as well.
It was interesting. It was interesting too that almost the same thing happened to her as happened to William with the truck, the logging truck.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and I believe it was a logging truck that hit William.
I
think it was.
This, whenever going back to the beginning of the episode when I said that Hell is Empty has, like, some of my favorite moments, this was one of them. Like, her pulling over to the side of the road to, like, talk with, like, the ghost of William, or her memory of William, is, like, really good. And that was, like, one of my favorite scenes in, like, all of Life is Strange.
I know it was, like, a really serious topic, because he was, like, saying, like, was I a good dad, you know?
Yeah.
And even, like, whenever William was, like, trying to choose the music, and Chloe's like, no, I'm driving. Then William even says hell. I was like, oh, yeah.
It's so good.
It was an interesting, like, grapple with Chloe. With, like, it was an interesting grapple of her coming to terms with the fact that, like, everybody is flawed.
Yes.
And, do you hold on to the idea that this person was perfect just because you don't know of, like, the fucked up things that they inevitably did because humans are fucked up?
Right.
And so there's I chose the option, I don't remember verbatim what it was, but it was essentially like, I guess it's better that I didn't know.
Mm-hmm. I want that too. And it's like, it was just nice to see that Chloe just wants that, like, the only good thing going through her head, which is, like, the memory of William to, like, not really go away, even though that she knows that everything is just fucked.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and like there's like a part where he says something along the lines of like, "Would you have loved me any less, or thought I was any less of a great dad?" I was like, "Damn."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But it's important because like, and I do love that scene for that reason, because Joey, as you said, nobody is perfect, and it's important to remember that. And it doesn't make it wrong to hold on to the good memories and to have that impression of a person in your mind, especially if they've passed away. Because I definitely do that, but it is a choice, and like those are the things that I want to remember about them, and
Right.
your overall impression of them is positive. But I think it's also a buddy of mine just started playing Life is Strange, and he knew that I liked it a lot, and he had been meaning to play it for a while, and he asked me if he should play season 1 or Before the Storm first. And I think I told him, like, it's up to you. I told him I obviously played season 1 first, but I think this scene, for me, is a great reason to play season 1 first, because it, I don't know, the fact that you learn this stuff about William after you've already gone through the events of season 1, understood the circumstances of his death and how close Chloe was to him, and then find out this stuff about him after the fact. I just think narratively that's a much better experience than...
It's more impactful, yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's also one of the options where I think it's the option, like one of the dialogue choices, when he says, you know, would you think any less of me if you knew that there are things that I lied about? And one of them, there was 3 options, and one of them was like, well, it would depend on what it was.
Yeah.
And that was I thought like the dialogue options were really good in this sequence, because it is such a like, how do you know, you can assume that, and probably realistically William didn't do anything too grave. I mean, I'm sure there's like things that he lied about, and you know, his he even says like, you lie because you don't want to hurt people with the truth.
Yeah.
So, you know, I doubt anything that he did was too grave, but still, like, I don't know. It set well with me having the option of being able to choose, like, well, it depends on what you do, because I do think there are some like irredeemable things that people do, and even if you do learn from it and you do change from it, you've still done that damage to the person, and like, you can't really fix that. There's some things that you just can't fix. There's a lot of things that you can, but and so I think it's completely viable and human to forgive people, but I guess not fully forgive them. I mean, you forgive them in a way, but at the same time,
you kind of
that damage is irreparable.
Yeah.
This is a really long
It's
tangent about
heavy-hitting.
like a small dialogue choice in that whole thing, but I don't know, that whole I really that scene really was well done, just through and through. All the dialogue options were really good. The whole like the whole grappling with coming to terms of, you know, my dad probably isn't the saint that I thought he was, and I think it was one of the biggest highlights of Before the Storm, definitely.
Yeah.
So let's move on to the mill, with the confrontation between Damon and Chloe and Sarah, with Frank's locked in the RV,
Right.
because after a battle with like just a fist fight, I'm guessing, where he got knocked out and locked in.
Well, he got stabbed.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah, shit. So basically, you gotta explore a little bit in the mill, but I feel like what we need to do is kind of just touch about the confrontation between Chloe and Damon, and just that, how it hits it. It's fucking hard to watch. It really is. Just seeing Chloe get beaten up.
That scene was tough.
Yeah.
Especially, I don't know if there's a way that you can keep Sarah from getting drugged.
I don't think so, because
No.
it kind of have to force the because it kind of forces the next scene.
Right.
So yeah, but this is one of the scenes that kind of redeems Frank a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. Like, this is definitely like why I say he's like he's not a good person, but he's, like I said, he's my problematic fave. But I was scared what was going to happen. Man, they did such a good job of making you care about Sarah, whom you've only seen for
Like
very, very brief instances.
Yeah.
But making you all of a sudden care very much about her. What I was worried was going to happen is because she'd been clean for a year. I thought Damon was going to give her the whole syringe, the whole dose, and that would have killed her. Like, when she was using, that maybe wouldn't have killed her, but having been clean and taken that much would have killed her for sure. But I guess he doesn't give her all of it, just enough to knock her out.
And should we just move on to the conversation, because I don't like thinking too much about this scene, because it's very, very hard to watch. It really is. It just makes me, I don't know. It's hard to explain.
Yeah, so Frank again comes to your aid, this time finishing off Damon, and you get kicked in the head, and as you come to, you have a conversation with Sarah, and she talks about like how that relationship with Rachel will never be, and that was another very very well put together scene.
Mm-hmm. With the performances and the dialogue, definitely.
Yeah.
There is an option for Sarah and Rachel to meet, but it's I don't fully understand how to do it. I think you got to have like Rachel's bracelet on you.
Yeah,
or
it's
something.
so particular. Like I still don't even remember everything you have to do.
I was looking at the stats, and it is a very low percentage of what people get. So I assumed that it was like a very very specific set of circumstances that you had to.
Yeah, I think you have to have You had to have asked for Rachel's bracelet in episode 2, and I think you have to pick a very specific set of dialogue choices with Sarah at the end, and then you can get it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's part of that like ending sequence, like the cutscene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just no dialogue. So yeah, she basically, what Sarah says is that Sarah cannot be the mother that Rachel needs, and it has to be, she can't, like, Chloe cannot tell the truth about James at all, otherwise it'll destroy the image of the father that Rachel wants James to be.
Right.
That, he tried to have Sarah killed.
It would basically like leave Rachel with no family.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it cuts to the fucking hospital.
Right.
For the
I don't know. It was just, we hear from James how terrible Sarah was. We see that she was struggling with addiction, and she did make some really terrible choices, and that for a while she was accepting the money, but we also see that she stopped and she started getting her life together.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like her swan song there, that scene with her like most selfless act that she's done in her entire life.
Mm-hmm.
And I really respect that.
Oh yeah.
I love Sarah.
It's
I
sad.
really do.
Yeah, Sarah. It's like I said. It's amazing how quickly they made you care so much about a character that was like barely there throughout
Hardly in the
game.
episodes.
But yeah, it, like quickly is like she's just a very great character. And so we cut to the hospital.
Hang on. Wait, before we go into I kind of want to give a little bit of a shout out to the voice of Sarah, though. Just looking it up really quick, because they really did do a good job.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not seeing it. Andrea Fletcher.
Good job.
So,
good job.
yeah,
Andrea
she did a
Fletcher.
really good job.
I gotta
Kudos.
hand it to the VA for Elliot too. I thought Elliot's VA did a really really good job. I thought it was it was up there with one of the best performances in the game.
Yeah.
During the. I mean, I fucking hate Elliot. Don't get me wrong. I fucking despise him through and through.
Cameron
But his
Quinsang.
VA did a very good job of
I think it's Cameron Quinsang, I believe.
He used to be in a band.
Did he?
So yeah,
Yeah, he was in a Disney band that I used to I don't know if they were a Disney band, but they were one of those bands, kind of Big Time Rush.
Right.
I don't know if you're familiar with them. They were I
That's
think they were
funny.
called. I can't remember what they were called, but they had some bops that I used to listen to when I was younger.
That's wild.
That's some good trivia.
let's
Yeah,
Alright,
just in case you were wondering.
so final choice.
This
Which
is what I was talking about. That was probably the hardest choice in Life is Strange for me.
Yeah.
So what did you guys do?
I told Rachel everything because knowing how much Chloe cared about Rachel in season 1 and kind of about the strong connection that they had, and how, especially at the beginning of the episode when Rachel tells Chloe that she's the only one that Rachel kind of trusts anymore, I was
Right.
I have to tell her.
Yeah.
I had to, so I did, and it was so fucking tough to watch.
Yeah.
Ugh, fuck.
I did.
Wait, what do you guys go
I
for?
did the same thing for the very same reason, and just an added thing it's also another reason why that scene between Chloe and William is so great, because they talk so much about lying and the truth and what that means, and I don't know what this says about me, but it took me much longer this time around to make the final choice than it did in season 1.
Yeah, same for me.
Maybe just because I know now what their game is, but it took me a long while. I debated it. I really wrestled with it, but I had to tell her. And yeah, man, it's just. And then when he walks into the room and she looks up and she has that death glare looking at him, it's terrible. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also told Rachel because I don't know, just everyone in her life has lied to her up until this point, and she talks so much throughout the game about how upset she is about everyone keeping the truth from her, and she doesn't know who she is or where she stands anymore. And then the only person she can kind of put her trust into is Chloe. Chloe's the only person who's been there and been honest to her the entire time. I just feel it's such a disservice to Rachel and everything she's been through, just to straight up lie to her face like that, the same way everyone else has in her life. I don't know. That's why I picked it.
What about you, Zach?
Yeah, I picked Truth as well. I felt I don't know. I felt after the conversation you have with William and stuff that that was the right thing to do. That was the it was what Rachel deserved to hear. And that she needed to not only did she need to know about
What James did.
about how scummy James is, but she also needed to know about Sarah.
Yeah,
And,
totally.
Who Sarah is, and so I felt like the choice at the end of this game is actually rather easy for me.
All right.
So, yeah, I don't know, like you said, Aaron, I don't know what this says about me. Season 1 was super easy. It's after everything that we've been through with Chloe, there's no way I'm gonna let her go. But this one was super hard, and I'm still not I picked to not tell her.
Okay.
But I don't know. You're damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Yeah.
I don't know that would be what I personally would do in that situation. I think I probably would tell the person the truth.
yeah.
But I sat there and I was man, I was struggling with this. It was such a hard decision for me. And I went back to just what I think Chloe would do. And I think being being 16 years old in that position and all that, and like caring so much about Rachel, that and Chloe coming to terms that like everybody does lie, and sometimes like you do it to protect people because the truth might destroy them.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, I won't say that there's any sort of courage in it, in choosing to not tell her, but I feel like Chloe would want to protect her from that, and would want to give her at least the semblance of a happy life without knowing like what a scumbag like her father was. And it was fucking hard. It was fucking tough.
It was.
I don't know, like I said, like I don't necessarily think that it's like the right thing to do. I don't really think there is a inherently right thing to do.
But you bring up a good point though, because you explained it as like Chloe learns that sometimes you do lie, and I think the way that you explained it, like from her perspective, makes a lot of sense. And the really interesting thing about this decision is, as tough as it is to make, and as much like the implications are staggering. Like it can completely change her life depending upon what you choose. However, no matter what you choose, it doesn't change the final outcome of this game, nor does it affect the events of season one.
Yeah.
Right. And that's another thing too that I think maybe kind of impacted my decision as well, is because I know what happens to Rachel, and just thinking like, I mean, she'll have Chloe up until the end, but like at least the 3 years in between, let Rachel have some semblance of happiness there.
Right.
The only thing I have about this though is, which like it's obviously something that can't be helped because season 1 is like pre-written, but I think people were like asking why Rachel ends up like cheating on Chloe with like Frank and that kind of stuff, and they said it would be explained by like the final choice. But I feel like it makes sense, like if Chloe kind of lied to her about the situation, and then like you could presume that maybe she figures it out or like finds out that Chloe's been lying to her or something like that, and that could be the reason why. But then I find it kind of hard to know why she would do that if Chloe's, I don't know.
Tell the truth. It's difficult.
Yeah, there is stuff that I like think about, and I'm like, realistically, like if it were an option, I feel like that would have changed how season 2 panned out and like stuff we know from season 2. But obviously, like that's something that can't be helped. So I do understand that.
Right.
Right. I think the only way that I could, it doesn't tell the story at all about how they get close. Like it doesn't, like that's just left for you to fill in.
Yeah.
But I think the only way that maybe it could be explained is just going back to that, like everybody lies, no exceptions. And do you lie like to protect someone, and are you actually protecting them? It's a very like philosophical thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I mean, to me anyway, like to others it might seem like cut and dry, but I don't know, there's no good when you just have this damage. There's no good way, either way someone gets hurt, and it's just, but yeah, I see, like I get what you're saying, Sean. Like it doesn't really explain anything of like how they came to be, how they like the only explanation that I would see is like, again, going back to that, like you lie to protect people from the truth or whatever because you think the truth will hurt them too much.
Yeah, totally.
As to why she didn't tell Chloe about Frank, but I don't know, like, because you see, like, and I guess we can use this to kind of segue into the final
the epilogue.
Yes.
Bit is, you see that Rachel and Chloe are very happy together.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, I mean, sometimes people do just grow apart, even if they are like close.
Even if like, absolutely like best friends and stuff.
Right. But
I still just have like so much difficulty understanding
yeah.
why she'd go with someone like Frank. I just
Over
like
Chloe,
I know
yeah.
they left it to us to like kind of like figure it out, but like I just have so many questions. It just like I was talking to Rachel about it the other day, and I just don't understand how. How she could think Frank could give her anything Chloe couldn't. Like, I don't know, like maybe he could give her money to get out of there or something like that. I don't know what she thought, but I guess that's the mystery of it all.
Yeah.
Or like, I mean, how even? I mean, I guess you could just assume that from buying pot from Frank, that's how Rachel gets to know Frank or whatever. But like, the biggest thing for me is like it doesn't really like, I don't know. It feels like that is one kind of hole that is needed a little bit more.
Yeah, and like I feel as though like with season 1, I could understand like from the way they portrayed Rachel, like I could like see why she would have done that, or like understand her doing it from like the things that we'd learned about her, because she was supposed to be like this kind of questionable, like shady kind of person, whereas in like Before the Storm, like now I know what she's like, and I just find it really difficult to imagine her doing that. But I'm a big believer in the fact that I make my own choices in life, and I've decided that Rachel didn't cheat on Chloe, so.
Well, and that's not, I don't think that's totally out of the question. Like, I don't think it has to be that she did. And it's so I think they did an amazing job of characterizing Rachel just based on what we knew in season 1.
I do too.
And she was so enigmatic and mysterious, and it's hard because, like, I love how much personality they gave her and how likable she is, and she's still like this free spirit, and there's a lot you don't know about her, but I think that was just one aspect of season 1 where back then, before we knew any of this stuff, it did fit, and now that we have a much firmer grasp on her personality, it seems unlike her to do something like that.
Yeah, and that's not to say that I don't like the writing for Rachel in Before the Storm, because I think like I actually prefer the writing for Rachel in Before the Storm, because I just felt like she's more of a dynamic character than what she was in season 1. Yeah, I really kind of preferred what they did with it, or like what they added to it. So I don't like think it's bad. It's just like answers, please.
Right. Well, I think, and here's my thing about Rachel. Now being done with Before the Storm, we learn that she is this very just of capricious nature, and she is there's the constant nagging doubt where you want to believe her, you want to take her as being earnest with the things that she says.
Yeah.
There's this nagging doubt: is she being sincere? Mm-hmm. And maybe too, it's, I think very likely it's one of those things where she is being sincere, she does mean it, but because of her, she is capricious, she is like so mercurial, like I don't know, like I feel like maybe she means it in the time that she's saying she is sincere, she is earnest, but she still doesn't really have a full grasp on who she is or what she wants, which is, I mean, honestly, understandable. She's a teenager.
Yeah, totally.
I didn't know who the fuck I was. I thought I did, but I didn't.
But like even then, like up until like she goes missing, like she's still young.
Right.
So it doesn't make it's not that wild that she would like act out or do like crazy things out of character, because like 18 is still young.
Right.
Like I do dumb stuff, and I'm not far off 18. So and we see Chloe, and she does dumb stuff, and she's 19. So it's not like that wild to think that Rachel will kind of act out or do stuff like or change, because people change as they grow. So
yeah.
I feel like we could talk about this forever.
Yeah, totally.
we need to wrap up, because we've been talking about Hell is Empty a long time. So let's kind of give a quick rundown of the epilogue, and then we'll talk about nothing after that. Nothing happened.
Yes. Yeah.
I forgot.
Forgot what? Nothing happened.
The epilogue had a really nice scene where it had a nice montage.
Gosh,
which we kind of talked about.
That made me that made me happier than like anything else, and that's saying a lot, because that was like around Christmas time when I played that.
Yeah.
Whenever Chloe had the blue hair.
Yes. I played that Wolf Alice song at least like 50 times in a row on Spotify.
Oh god, Same. It's that the montage is like such an just a nice little detail, because people do want to see like more of Rachel and Chloe and like how their relationship changed and like developed as time went on. Because we only saw a very small part of it, like a couple of days.
Right.
So there's so much more to explore there. So like just seeing those little moments, like them being happy together, like after everything they've gone through, is just like really heartwarming.
Right.
That was a scene, like that montage was just something that I'm really glad they put it in there. I think it was really well put together, and like the song worked perfectly with it.
Yeah.
It was nice.
That was it.
That was a really great scene. In all seriousness, though, that I do want to just, my biggest criticism of Before the Storm is that last little bit. It was so unnecessary. We know that the happiness that's shown is not.
It's temporary.
Yeah.
Right. And I get maybe they were like trying to come from the standpoint of like to link it in, like if you are playing Before the Storm first, like to kind of set you up for season 1. They could have done it in a better way. I mean, I'll be honest here.
I kind of found it like
just in poor taste.
Yeah, I found it like the slightest bit distasteful, just because like there are so many people who really do love Rachel and Chloe, and like who like have like felt so much like related to these characters going through everything they've seen with season 1 and Before the Storm.
Right.
I did just feel like a bit of a kick in the face.
Yeah.
Right.
I remember playing it, and I was like, everyone was like, wait till you see the end. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
must be something happening.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, it looks nice, but fucking Deck 9 twisting the knife.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
That was unnecessary. That is probably my biggest criticism.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of a mixed bag for me, you know. I do appreciate the nod to season 1, but they could have done it so differently, and it would have been even the same, if not more effective.
Totally.
Even just having it transition to like the missing persons poster, that would have set it up with more intrigue.
Oh
for
yeah,
season
totally.
1 than
or like Chloe parking her car and putting up a missing poster or something.
This is the only thing that I will say about Before the Storm that I just legitimately thought was bad, and I just did not like it.
Yeah, I do agree.
That last little snippet.
I definitely think a better, like, if their approach was to like appeal to somebody who is like playing Before the Storm before season 1, and to set up a little bit of foreshadowing, if that was actually what they wanted to do, I think a way more, like you said, a way more interesting way to do it would have been like have show Chloe hanging up her missing persons poster.
Yeah.
Like show Chloe pasting it up on the notice board outside of like the Blackwell like front door.
Yeah, totally.
And it had the same effect,
or show the stacks and stacks of her like missing poster papers in the bed of her truck.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that would have been a lot more tasteful and a lot more interesting.
Yeah, I think the reason why I have a problem with it is because it just sets up this whole idea again that like, because we go from seeing such like a happy like moment, and like for just that moment, like you know that's what they had, and then you like, I just feel like it shows that like Jefferson wins despite everything, and I really don't like that. I hate the idea that like Jefferson gets his moment again and he gets his attention, because I don't feel like he deserves it, and I think, I don't know, I think it was just like a real kick in the face to like fans who'd like seen everything Chloe goes through, and like knowing what Rachel went through. Like, I don't know, I really didn't like it.
Actually, Sean, I think you nailed it. I think that's why it didn't work, is because it didn't fit the tone. It went from like really happy and euphoric to this horribly dark thing, whereas like if you remember back to the end of episode 4, and it gives you the preview of episode 5 in season 1, and you hear like Max talking to Jefferson in the dark room, that fits because you're already feeling like everything's messed up and like terrible, and like it flows correct, even though it's still, you know, awful. Like it fits. This was just it was totally out of place.
Yeah, I just really don't like the idea, because it does give this, like I said, it gives this idea that like no matter what, Jefferson always wins, and he's like this evil genius, and like, because just like looking from like a victim and like an abuser standpoint, I don't know, it's just really distasteful, just because like you know Jefferson is like a gross guy, and like, and the fact that he gets like his moment again after like you've resolved it in season 1, if you played season 1, and you know the ending to this story. I don't know. It just that is the one bit I really didn't like about Before the Storm, and there's a lot of stuff I really love about Before the Storm, but that I don't know. I really hated that little bit.
Yeah.
I feel like what would have been a really cool transition, which I just thought of, was I think Chloe had like a copy of those photos that they took in the photo booth in that box that she has, right? With the CD and all that stuff, and the photo that she used initially to scan the missing poster from.
Yeah.
I feel like it could have transitioned to the photo shown in the box of like stuff that reminded Chloe of Rachel, and Chloe puts the photo in the box while she like gets like a missing poster from the printer or something.
Yeah.
I feel like that would have been that would have been a little bit more effective.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it would have been. It would have been more intriguing. It would have been, and I think too, Sean, you also nailed you nailed it. Like hit the nail on the head.
I got you. Don't worry.
When you say it made it about Jefferson, and you could have still framed that where you kept it about Rachel and you kept it about Chloe, and you didn't make it about Jefferson. So I feel like shifting the subject to Jefferson again, it was weak from tying it in if you don't know the story of Jefferson.
Yeah.
It was just distasteful too if you do know the story of Jefferson.
Yeah.
Because we go through this entire game of it being the story about Chloe and Rachel.
Even if you think about season 1, that even with like the red folders, you had no idea it was really about photography until like you were like halfway through season 1. So kind of having like the camera going off in the background immediately like points fingers to someone who's interested in photography.
Yeah.
Right.
Which kind of like ruins the mystery of season 1. But anyway, I don't want to spend too much time complaining about the ending, like that epilogue scene, because Hell is Empty was a great episode.
Yeah.
It really was.
Yeah.
That was just a little bit of a problem that we have, but
yeah, like I said,
we tend to have constructive criticism.
Some of the best moments in Life is Strange, but also some of the weakest moments in Life is Strange.
Yeah,
but
it had some of my favorite moments, so it's definitely a good episode.
So overall impressions of Before the Storm, what do we think?
I enjoyed it, and like you said, Zach, it had some of like my favorite moments from any like other Life is Strange franchise. Deck 9 really did have a lot of pressure kind of taking the Life is Strange franchise, kind of taking it to expand on a story that we didn't really know about with Rachel Amber and Chloe Price's relationship. I did think they did a good job. However, the problem I do have like the problem with the ending. Apart from that, I'm pretty satisfied with the episode.
Well, I really loved Before the Storm.
Before the Storm, they did a good job. They did good work with Aaron. I believe you said it earlier, characterizing Rachel, and given what little bit we knew about Rachel and like making her into this like full-fledged character for Before the Storm. Overall, it was a nice addition to the franchise, and I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I said when we did our review of episode 1 that it's really hard to do a prequel to something that already exists. Not just to do it justice or to do justice to the original material, but to make it a valid entry that has its own spot rather than just being solely fan service or extracurricular material. And I think that Before the Storm accomplished that, and it definitely it adds a lot, and it gives me a deeper appreciation for the characters I already loved, mostly Chloe, because I didn't feel extremely connected to Chloe in season 1. I hope I won't get hate mail for that, but
how fucking dare you?
No, don't worry, Aaron. It's totally fine. I'll be perfectly honest. I hated Chloe in episode 1 of Life is Strange season 1, but then she really did grow on me, and Before the Storm really did help make me love her more. So it's totally understandable.
Yeah. Well, that's how I am with Rachel. Like, I really didn't like the way she came across in season 1, and like that is like one of the biggest things I have to say about Before the Storm, because like Rachel is like now one of my favorite characters. Like I really, really like adore Rachel and everything they did with her, and like I have a lot of respect for them for like kind of, because I hate to say it, but in season 1 Rachel felt like so one-dimensional, which I suppose was kind of purposeful, but like there was a part of me that kind of like didn't like that. So like I really like the fact that they really built on her character and showed these sides of her we didn't get to hear about. I really liked Before the Storm. Like I think maybe as a whole I kind of preferred it to season 1, but I do have so much love for season 1 as well. But I really, really do love Before the Storm, even with its faults.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I would say
So,
I very much enjoyed Before the Storm. I think I could take any episode from season 1 and I would enjoy it. I would say I liked those more than any episode from Before the Storm, but Before the Storm is still really good. And I went into Before the Storm not really expecting much from it. I honestly thought it would be kind of boring, and at first I kind of had that vibe. Like if you go listen to our episode on episode 1 of Before the Storm, I wasn't very into it. I was kind of like it was kind of boring. It was slow. Nothing really happens.
you've pretty much... I'm not sure if you said this, but you pretty much said it was like just like fan service, really. Just
I don't know if I said exactly that, but yeah, that might sum up kind of how I felt. But yeah, looking back on it after going through 2 and 3, I really do like Before the Storm. I thought it was really good. I didn't really like Rachel very much at first, like you, Sean, but she definitely grew on me. I like Rachel a lot more. And I can't say much for a lot of the other like side characters. But there's a few characters that really grew on me, like some minor characters like Skip and
Steph.
Yeah.
and Steph, of
Mikey.
course. Yeah,
I also think
Mikey and Drew.
I do want to give them credit as well, just for Nathan, because he's another character that I had very, very little respect for in season 1. But like, I still think he's a shitty person, and
She muted herself.
Oh shit! Sorry. About Nathan. No, in season 1, he was a character I really didn't like him, and I didn't have any respect for him or any like. I wasn't apologetic for like the way he acted and like the stuff that people said about him and that kind of thing, because he was a really bad person. I still think he's a bad person. I don't excuse any of the stuff he did.
Yeah.
But I can kind of like seeing like why he became that person. Like there's a part of me that kind of like wishes that like there could have been another path for him or another way in like he went through life, because I feel like sometimes there is just stuff that like it shapes people to be not good people, and it's just like it's unfortunate that he had to turn out the way he did. So it kind of just made me think more about him, like, and as a person and why he got to that point.
Right.
Caleb did a good job. Then again, the entire cast did a good job, because they had a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
Kind of being in a universe that so many fans loved. So I would just want to give a huge shout out to the cast for doing such a great job, as well as being so active in the community as well.
Yeah.
As well as the Deck 9 team as well, and those at Square Enix who worked on this game.
Yeah, they like they did put like so much love into it, and you can really see that, and you can see that they had a passion for what they were doing. They weren't just doing it because they could do it; they were doing it because they wanted to do that. And I don't know, like I just have a lot of respect for them, and like because they went through a lot, obviously, like trying to match up to like the expectations of season 1. Yeah, I think they did a really good job.
And I think too, and I said this earlier. I think maybe even in our episode about episode 1, or leading up to it. I know I've said it before that the only thing that concerned me, regardless of whether I would like it or not, is would it be something that they put their hearts into, and they did.
Yeah.
And
it was
apparent. I mean, season 1 has its flaws. It's
Yeah.
not a perfect game by any means, but you can tell it was a love child, just as you can tell with BTS's flaws that it was a love child. And that was what I was most concerned about. And my mind was quickly put at ease to that when playing episode 1. And so I mean, it feels like a nice addendum to season 1. I don't think I like it more than season 1, but I do really, really appreciate, even though I have no claim in Life is Strange at all. I'm just a fan, but the franchise meant so much to me and means so much to me that I'm really glad that Deck 9 like put their heart in it, you know?
Yeah. And it was evident.
And made it obvious it meant to, yeah.
Right. Yeah, I think I watched some interview, I think it was with Chris Floyd and Webb, and they were just talking about it, and it was pretty early on in the stages of the game, and their excitement and their passion and their reverence for the original canon was something that I really appreciated a lot, and I think it came through in the final product for sure.
Yeah.
Right.
I feel like, we should probably wrap up the episode now.
Cool.
On like a high note.
Yes. So let us know what you guys think, what you folks think about.
Also, before the storm, let us know what the new the new ending thing is. Bay or Bay. What is it now? Please let us know so we can ask it in future interviews.
I will say, I just want to throw this out there. It's okay if you didn't like Before the Storm. Entirely okay.
Mm-hmm.
Do not fucking harass the developers.
Yeah,
No,
I
please
agree.
Don't.
Just
I mean, they put so much work into it. And
don't fucking do it.
Yeah.
So
you see, the Life is Strange community is all about love, and just loving people for who they are, and it's just important. Even the developers put so much time into the game. I think they put 2 to 3 years of it, right? Of hard work to make Before the Storm.
Yeah.
So they did a really good job. So please don't harass the developers.
Yeah.
And we want to thank everyone involved with Before the Storm for expanding the story of Arcadia Bay for us fans. So shall we go into announcements?
Yeah.
So schedule next week. Not next week, next episode. We've got the farewell episode.
Yep.
I took an opportunity and I fucking took it. So we'll be talking about that. Now, the anniversary is coming up, everybody.
Yeah.
We're going to be 3 years old soon.
Yeehaw.
So, we thought of an idea.
Don't steal my brand.
What? Wait, what?
She's talking to me. Go on.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
talking to you.
So we've thought of something quite special for the 3-year anniversary of the Blackwell podcast. We realized that we want to kind of show the highlights of what we think is the importance of Life is Strange as a franchise, whether it be through different characters and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to have an award ceremony.
Yes, we are.
Is exciting, and we're going to need your help.
Yeah. So I guess,
basically,
go ahead.
We're still hammering out the details, but we will have this very soon. We will probably have it hammered out by the time this episode is actually released. Probably what we're going to do is we're going to whittle it down to what we think was the high points in the categories, and we'll have polls for each category. We'll run them so that you can vote on Twitter, and we'll of course
we'll have a straw poll as well to those who don't have access to Twitter.
Right.
So
we'll have the straw poll, and then we'll start the polls as well on Twitter.
that will kind of like factor in those votes, and then we'll get an overall winner for when we do the award ceremony.
Right. So it'll basically come down to, we're going to pick some highlights. We're going to pick who we think our, like, I don't know, just for example, like,
It'll be like
one of
best
Jamie's was
music
like,
in a scene.
Yeah, like best use of music, and then we'll pick out a few scenes that we think are really iconic, and then we'll have that to listener vote, and we'll
We
go
should
over
say
that on
as
our...
well that it will be in 2 parts.
Yeah.
One part will be for Life is Strange Season 1 and Life is Strange Before the Storm.
Yeah.
So,
And we
Yeah,
are
we'll
going
have
to incorporate Farewell with Season 1.
Season 1. I'm excited for this.
Yeah,
I really am.
Sounds really fun.
It's going to be
It's
a good
gonna
time.
be it's something experimental, and we really hope that it works out so we can actually make it a tradition.
Mm-hmm.
And then like next year we'll incorporate Season 2, all that jazz. Yeah, I'm really excited to get this underway. Even though we had the idea like 2 hours ago, just before we recorded this episode.
Those are the best ideas. Just take it and run with it.
Yeah.
It'll be a nice way to say goodbye to Arcadia Bay.
Speaking of, that's a great segue, Zach.
It
The
ruins
episode-
the segue.
It ruins
when
the
you
segue
pointed
when you
out
said
how good of a
something
segue it was.
Speaking, well, our next the episode, like the next episode before season 2 drops, will be about, we are going to have a tribute episode to Arcadia Bay, where we're gonna basically list off all the things we liked and just finally say goodbye.
It'll be our farewell to Arcadia Bay.
I said before, it's gonna be fucking hard for me.
It's
I'm
sad,
not
yeah.
looking forward for it.
I'm already like choked up.
Yeah, me
Thinking
too. A
about
little
it.
bit.
Although, we should say, this will not stop any interviews that we'll have in the
Yeah.
future regarding season 1.
Right.
Definitely not.
Or
That's
Before
like-
the Storm.
Yeah. We're just, it'll be like, we'll have like some character studies, I guess, like, of like Rachel or something, like later on in the line, but it's kind of like, since we'll be focusing on Life is Strange season 2,
Right.
it'll be moving to a different location, different characters, and now it's kind of a good way to go out with Arcadia Bay, and I'm getting choked up just saying it. Oh my god.
And I think shifting the focus to allows us to enjoy the reverie a bit more of guessing what comes next in season 2 with in between episodes of the game as well. So it is very bittersweet.
Mm-hmm. I feel like I'm actually crying right now. Just talk about this. I don't want to, but we have to do it.
Right.
Like and subscribe.
It really can be like that sometimes.
Smash
It's just
that
so
like
sad.
button.
Alexa, play Despacito.
Just trying to lighten the mood a little bit.
Yeah, we're trying to. There is, before we end the episode, I do want to give a shout out to a community project which caught my eye. I want to say like a week or so ago.
Is it?
It's the Everyday Zeros. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I saw this.
Basically, I asked the people behind it if I could mention it on air, and they said, of course, to kind of spread awareness of what it is. It's a community which basically treats everybody as equals. You basically all the main goal is to just hang on, and I want to get the basically the goal for Everyday Zeros, said by Bizarro Dream, who I talked to about, kind of get a little bit more information about.
Did they got a Twitter?
Yeah, I'll leave the links to everything in the description when this episode goes out on YouTube. Their goal is to get Everyday Zeros heard and understand the main concept of the community. And they have a Discord server now, which is given a better chance to get involved and introduce ourselves to those within the community. As basically, their whole idea is just to make everyone feel welcome, no matter race, sexuality, who they identify as. It's it's such an amazing thing to see in the community. And the shout outs to Bizarro Dream, Kosiet, who's also known as Rob, and Floral Meg as well for helping set this up. It's such a good fucking thing.
Thank you all.
So we'll leave the link. Yeah, we'll leave the link to the tweet, the overall tweet, and the Discord server into the YouTube description. I just want to say, on behalf of myself, thank you guys, for actually making that. It's so important to show, love in the community. For everybody, just there are some dark places of the community, unfortunately, but it's important to shine the light and treat everybody equally with respect. So, it's seriously, thank you guys so much for setting that up, and thank you for letting us talk about it on the air.
Yeah, and I think with the community too, it's not one of those. It's not a zero-sum game, and B, it is not a case of less is more. I think the more just community outreach and the more bonding and all that keeps the community close knit and keeps it healthy. So yeah, it's a very cool initiative. Make sure to check it out. If it's something that piques your interest and you want to get involved, by all means.
Mm-hmm. So that's all I have to really say. We have upcoming stuff.
Yeah.
And, announcements and shout outs really. So let's wrap the episode up.
Thank you to all of our listeners.
Mm-hmm. We really do appreciate the support.
Yeah.
Thank you to our patrons as well for helping making the Blackwell podcast continue.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm still fucking sad from that. From talking about the farewell to Arcadia Bay. Don't fuck. I was fun thing. I was talking about how upset I was when I was playing Hell is Empty earlier today, and someone in the Twitch chat was like, "No, seriously, stop saying that the story's over." So I want to give a shout out to Thomas for saying that, because that really made me laugh. Because the story is never over as long as more people entering the community. That's how I like to think of it, and there's more artists. Yeah.
You die. Your person dies twice.
Mm-hmm.
Once when they physically die, and then lastly when the last person to utter their name, or I don't know. Mm-hmm. I don't know what exactly that's saying.
We understand what you mean. So yeah, thank you so much to everyone on Patreon. Shout out to everyone listening to us through the RSS feed as well.
Yeah.
We really appreciate that support, considering we're a podcast after all. And
thank you to our sponsors.
NatureBox, Blue Apron, everybody.
Red Apron.
Creature Box.
What's the opposite of nature?
Nurture.
You panties.
Nurture Cube.
Yeah. Your
Me
undies.
underwear.
Me underwears.
Oh, we could go on forever. Yeah, I'm not sponsored, but we do appreciate the support from everyone. We're idiots, but we want to thank everybody so much for watching. We really do appreciate it, and we will see you next time with our farewell discussion episode.
Bye, everybody.
Bring the tissues.